right, let's take a look at exercises, essentially exercises 9 and 11. We're going to look at them both since I have the combined program here. What we're looking at is essentially the MemoPad application that we wrote with some minor changes. What we're using the file chooser now as opposed to just our standard dialog box, and we've also added an icon to the open item on the menu. Let's take a look at how we're going to start with the icon, since we're going to start from the top to the bottom in this application, and we'll look at that first, and then we'll look at how the file chooser works. Let's start with the very beginning. Of course, we've got a lot of import statements here because we've got a lot of stuff we're doing. The Abstract Window Toolkit, as you know, provides us with a number of things, including the ability to center our screen, because we need to be able to get the screen resolution from the operating system, and the functionality to do that is stored in the Abstract Window Toolkit library. We're handling events. We're handling button events, action listener events. So that's going to be clicks on menu bars, clicks on buttons, and enters in text box, hitting the enter key in the text box. All of that is stored in the Abstract Window Toolkit's event library. Java.util for reading in and out, and Java.io for reading in and out files and managing files. We're going to be using classes in both of those libraries. And of course the Swing library, because the Swing library is providing all of our components. Obviously, you see we implement the action listener interface. We're doing that because we need to handle those button clicks and those clicks on the menu bar items. The first line here creates an image icon. An image icon is essentially nothing more than a class that can store an image. It is called image icon. It is from the Swing library. We're going to create an object called open icon because it is the icon or the picture that is going to go with the open item on the file menu. With the image icon, all we need is to provide the constructor with the name and location of the file, of the image file we want to open. Again, GIFs and JPEGs can be commonly used for this. We're creating the menu bar. Again, this is something you've seen. We've done the menu bar in the application we did for homework. We then do the file menu. We create the file menu for the menu bar. We create the edit menu for the menu bar. We create the save item that's going to go in the file menu, the open item that's going to go in the file menu, and we have one difference here to the JMenu item constructor. As we have done in the past, the JMenu item constructor can take the text that you wish to appear for that particular menu item. Additionally, we can provide it an image icon object that stores the picture we want to see to the left of the text that shows up in the under the menu as one of the items under the menu. And so we simply provide that. In this case, we're providing open icon, which stores the open folder.gif image. We add the exit, which is again another image, an item menu or menu item. We add clear, which is also a menu item. And we create the JText area called pad. We create the scroll pane because again, we don't have to wrap our lines. We can go on and on and on forever, and we need to be able to see that if it goes beyond the size of the window. We have a buffered reader object and a print writer object. Both of these are going to write files. One is going to read files in from the read files in that contain stored data, and one is going to write data to a file. You'll see down here we have our constructor for the MemoPad class. Again, we're providing the title of the window to the JFrame constructor. We're setting the default on-close operation. We are creating a panel called display panel. It is a JPanel object. We are setting the layout to border layout. We are creating the text area. We are creating the scroll pane, adding the text area to the scroll pane, telling that we want the scroll bars to show up all the time. And then again, remember, we add the scroll pane to the window, or to the panel. We do not add the text area to the panel. We add the new, open, and save options to the file menu. We add a separator and then the exit. We add the file menu to the menu bar, and we tell, once we have the menu bar fully laid out, we let Java know that for this window, we want the menu bar to be our menu bar object. We add the display panel to the center of the window. We add action listeners for the save, clear, open, and exit objects. Again, these are the menu items for new, open, save, and exit. Again, since all the code is going to be contained in the MemoPad class, we use the keyword this. Let's look at the event handlers. Action performed. This is where, when we first did this, I showed you a couple of different ways to get to find out what item through an event. If you have an event that could be thrown by one or more objects, especially when it comes to action events, you're going to need a way to determine what object was the source or what object was the thing that was clicked on. I showed you guys the last time we looked at this, the get source method. And the get source method allows us to, gives us back the address of the item that generated the event. In this case, it gives us back the reference. So we can just compare it against the object name. So if it was the save item, I am going to launch the file chooser. I am going to, when the dialog box is shown, I want the status to go into an integer called status. And as long as status is the same as the approved option, that means the user clicked OK, I'm going to get the text from the memo pad. I'm going to store it in a string variable called memo. I am going to take the file name from the file chooser using the get selected file method, and I am going to create an output file object using the printWriter class, and I'm going to call it the file. I'm going to create a file writer object with that name. I am going to print out the content of the string variable called memo, and then I'm going to close my connection to the file. I am going to set the text in the memo pad to say the memo saved in and the name of the file. If there is a problem, such as the file cannot be found, or some sort of input and output problem, let's say the disk drive goes away in the middle of trying to save, we will generate exceptions that will display error boxes. If the source of the click was the clear option or the new option from the menu, we're just going to set the text to nothing. Again, this is stuff that you did in the first try on this assignment. Finally, for the open option, if they choose to open a file, we're going to set up the file chooser. We're going to show the dialog box, and we want to know what button did they click when that dialog box closes. If it was the approved option, that means they clicked OK. We're going to get that file name and store it in a file object. We're going to create a buffered reader object and try to open up that file. We're going to go ahead and read in until there's nothing left to read. Then we're going to call our process line method. I'll go over that in just a second. The process line method breaks everything apart and finds the end of the line. Okay. Basically, once we're at the end of the line, it throws in a new line character and returns that back into message. And we keep doing that until message is fully filled out with all of the data from the text file. Once we're done, we close the file. Again, if there's a problem finding the file, we do the file not found. If there is a problem during the reading of that file, we'll throw an IO exception and we'll display those messages. Once we've got the data in, we go ahead and set the text of that text area to the data that we received. If it's the exit button, we call system.exit. Again, process line, what does it do? Well, we're using the string tokenizer here. And what we've decided is that we're going to split the string apart on white spaces. And while it has tokens, we're going to continue to add the white space. And when we get to the end of a line, we're going to add the new line character in, because the new line character may or may not be there. And if it isn't there, we want to make sure we put it in so that we don't have one big long run-on line and everything spaces out nicely. If there was a new line character there, we're going to put it in, because sometimes those don't carry over. Again, a fairly complicated program we've just made some slight tweaks to. If you have any questions about this one, again, please let me know. Send me an email, or and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. If you click on the next button, you will be taken to the next lecture, which will talk about the color chooser. It functions similar to the, not quite the same, but similar to the file chooser. And we'll do that with some changes to the memo or to the drawing pad to allow you to draw with color.